Hello there, folks. Ferian John Bort here, reminding you that life is awesome, and also so are you. Um, I am presenting this video on with a theme that I kind of see more and more frequently around me. Today I'm going to speak a little about suicide, and is it actually justified to commit suicide to escape all the problems that you think or believe you have in your life? I've been hearing this from youngsters, usually my generations, more and more because so many people are too emotional and no one actually teaches you how to become, conscious of your own feelings and what they actually tell you. Many people go through pains and they don't simply understand why those pains actually exist. And to be honest, pains only exist because they remind you that you're not doing the right things. They are reminding you that you're not careful enough and you're not caring enough towards yourself. You're ignoring different aspects of yourself that are causing you harm. Pain is just a teacher, and it shows you that if you're not going to take care of yourself, everything will get worse and worse. Many people choose distractions in life because they just believe that if they get distracted through drugs, video games, or whatever, they will simply escape from the problems. But you cannot outwit problems, you cannot outrun problems. You can only solve them. And in order to solve them, you will have to commit to some sacrifices, you will have to commit to a lot of things that you probably wouldn't like. But in order to succeed in life and defeat all odds that are fighting against you, you have to become a person who's capable of doing things that they don't like. Many people get stuck in their comfort zone and they have one of the most potent feelings of consciousness, which is the fear of the unknown. Many people will fear doing things because even if they would improve their life, most people fear these things because they don't know what to expect. And we are also taught in the schooling system that's kind of becoming more and more obsolete. We are taught that failure is the end of all things. The moment you have failed, it's like the end. As a sayer goes, I haven't failed 10,000 times with that thing. I just found out 10,000 things it wouldn't work with, or 10,000 situations in which it wouldn't work. Now, failure is part of progress. The moment you fail, it is an important part because failure is actually what teaches you the most. It's then when you find out your limitations. It's then when you find out what you could do more, actually. And there are so many ways in which you can fail, but there are only a few ways to succeed. But in order to succeed, you need to fail a lot. That is why successful people charge so much money for the teachings that they can provide, because the wisdom they have shared and will share is wisdom that's been accumulated over the course of 20, 30, probably even 40 years of failures and achievements. A master will always have failed more than their beginners, than their initiates will even have tried. Failure is a great teacher. Success, however, is something that we revel in and we like it, but success doesn't teach you much. It's an important achievement to achieve, right, in life, but it doesn't teach you as much. And suicide. People become suicidal because no one teaches them what to do in life. People have a very powerful aspect of their existence, which is their emotion. But no one teaches you how to handle your emotions, how to do good things in life, and how to follow your emotions, your inner voice. How can you actually follow your inner voice when you're taught from youth that everything you do sucks? The purpose of the new generations nowadays is to first love themselves, to learn how to love themselves, and in order to withstand this and learn, actually achieve the idea of self-love and the awareness of self-love and communion with themselves, they have to go through a tsunami of narcissistic persons who unfortunately can be even your parents, your relative, your loved ones, your close ones. In order to sort people out, you have to find out what your priorities are. You also have to find out what people's priorities are and you always have to compare them to the future. Will this person actually achieve many things? Is this person actually supporting me? Will this person does this person actually by me and will stay by me when I need them? Will I actually stay by them when they need me? These are very important questions. Secondarily, when people keep coming to you with problems and use emotionality against you to have you do their work instead, how about you ask yourself, like, are these problems these people come to me to solve, are their problems actually my problems? Because other people's problems are not my problems, for sure. If I created those problems for them, okay, sure, I will try to help. But if you see stray children begging for money, it is not your fault that they are in that condition. It is not your fault that they are born, and it is not your fault that they are suffering. Because in the end, it is not their fault either that you yourself are suffering. And you yourself, as a much more grown up person compared to those children, you're also much more conscious. And compared to those children, you're most likely inducing the pain to yourself. You're inviting a lot of parasitic entities to take over you and simply feed off your energy and keep tormenting you in order for them to feed. Because parasitic entities cannot gain energy from themselves, through themselves, just like you would when you go to sleep. So if you constantly feel tired, have suicidal thoughts, and all sorts of stuff, it is a sign that there are some problems within you, and they're not necessarily related to your mind. They are problems related to things that you have accepted in your life, that you're doing to yourself without necessarily knowing, or in worst case scenarios, that you actually know you are doing to yourself. Sorry, I had to drink a little water. So if you're having a lot of pain, if you're experiencing a lot of stress and anxiety, I can understand that. Try to reach out to me through comments and ask me what you would like to hear, and I will create a video about that. If you are new to my channel, you can subscribe, you can add comments to whatever videos I create, suggest improvements, and ask me what you would like me to share from my wisdom that I have acquired in my 29 years of age. But I assure you that I have read a lot, and I will keep doing that because I feel that my purpose in life is to acquire knowledge and wisdom and to share it with people. So to move on, is this suicide something that's justifiable in order to escape from the problems of life? Now, when you are born, the greatest pains of life occur then, because the soul has to enter your body, and it has to get used to everything, to how to use the body, to the pains of birth, to all sorts of things, because subconsciously as a child you can feel your mother's pain when she is bringing you into the world from her womb, and it's a very traumatic experience. When you die, especially when you die from serious diseases that are very painful, or from like murders or rapes, or you know horrible things, when you die a normal death, it is very much a release. It is the moment when you suddenly wake up to different other realms and you start experiencing other lives. But let's not focus on other lives, because this life is very interesting. This life is very beautiful and unique in its own way. And if you open your eyes more, and how about you watch the sky? How about you watch some clouds and just accept life and live in the moment for a bit? Wouldn't you feel that life is much easier when you don't have all those problems that most likely you have augmented and invented anyways? Isn't life worth living in the end? Because why would you actually feel that you have to commit suicide now when you will most likely die in a couple of years? Because if you keep yourself negativistic, you cannot expect to live necessarily a very long life. People who are very parasitic, they usually live a long life because there are a lot of people who don't know how to love themselves, and they keep feeding those people with their own energy. And that is why positive people will most likely die before those negativistic ones. So keep asking yourself, why is it that that person is suffering? Are their problems my problem? Well, in most cases it will be a no. So then, how about you learn to focus more on yourself? Focus more on yourself. Focus more on having patience towards yourself, no longer putting you down, because the things that you feed your mind with will be the things that will affect you, and these things will go down and vibrate and even change your DNA. And if you keep thinking bad things, you will vibrate and resonate to the deepest levels of your being with those. So unless you change whatever you feed your mind with, how about you change the music that you listen to? How about you change what you view on television, on the internet? How about you change the people, if possible, the people around you? How about you make your environment much less toxic, and you'll see that things can actually improve? How about you stop pulling yourself down that the moment you have failed it's like the end of the world? I haven't failed 10,000 times in life, and especially in that situation. I have just found 10,000 situations in which that plan does not work, but it doesn't mean that it is over. People nowadays are taught all this bullshit, especially by schools, that the moment you have failed, it's all over. It's not worth following. It's not for you. Everything is good for others, but not for you. So why necessarily suffer? Why would you actually choose to suffer so stupidly in the name of nothing, in the name of making other people happy? Because, accept it or not, most people with narcissistic traits, and believe me, there are so many around you, even your family, even your parents can have something like that, they will fear losing you. And if you want a very easy way to sort out people in your life, start doing things that take you into account and no longer takes them into account. Start doing things that you really love, that really make your heart lit, that really make your heart beat faster, that make your head spin, like hobbies. What are those things in childhood that you really loved doing and now you stopped considering about them anything because you think that, well, it's not for you? Just because you can't play a fucking guitar from the beginning, it doesn't mean that you're not going to become a good guitar player. But you see, no one is born knowledgeable. Everyone is getting good in time. There is no such thing as a public speaker who was born a public speaker. Sure, some people may have a penchant toward this. Some people may be more naturally inclined towards this. But come again, they were not born with the skill. The skill is something that you learn, and the skill is something that you practice. Like, think of any music person, they haven't become that overnight. Unless they had some contracts and they're working for like commercial music, which is somewhat easy to create, much easier to create compared to opera music, or I don't know, like even computer generated music is very hard to create. You have to master some very good softwares, and believe me, there are a lot of people who actually do a lot of good music. I would recommend you, for example, Irish Trish. I really like her channel. She has very interesting music, and when I chatted with her, I realized that she is just like me. She is a person who is very introspective. So unless you become introspective and really speak with these problems, really find out why they are present in your life, why they are bugging you, why your inner voice is so silenced, why you cannot speak with yourself and understand anything in life. Unless you achieve these, your life will still remain miserable, because the point of misery is to remind you that you're not doing the right things. So unless you start loving yourself more, you won't be escaping stress and the will to commit suicide and other atrocities against yourself. Because it is the will of parasitic entities that we create and we invite through our suffering. We invite them because they were created by other people, previous generations. They were created through their suffering, and so it is the only thing that they know, and therefore it is the only thing they feed upon. So they will constantly need you to be negativistic so that they can feed off you. So why would you let such beings with immeasurable weakness. They need to be in the thousands, in the millions to actually pull you down a bit. And you have so much strength that you're doing 90% of the work to pull you down. And you're giving power to so many useless creations of previous generations instead of doing whatever it takes to make your life good. Successful people do everything that is difficult so that their life becomes easy. Unfortunately, most people who are miserable, they are only doing the easy things. That is why their problems still exist in life. I wish you a very Merry New Christmas. I wish you had a very beautiful Christmas. I wish you have a very beautiful New Year now. And I wish you all the good in the world. Love yourself more. This is Dragos reminding you that life is awesome and also so are you.